Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Those are all
All I
mild
see is people
accounts. Some
saying
people are
"Hail
busy.
to Drunk 3PO." That's all I see. God, how he
Drunk
does it,
3PO
I just
got
don't
a
know.
shout out
He's
on the
crazy.
Alex Jones stream.
F's in
What
the
the hell?
F's in the chat for Drunk 3PO's
I'm gonna
Twitter.
slide in here.
I got that
Say,
right? Did I get that right? Did I get
hi
that right?
guys, what's going on in here?
He always shows up on my Geeks and Gamer streams with the Park Hoppin' channel just so he can get like 3 or 4 new subs out of that for that channel because he runs it.
Enough
I'm like,
talk
I know
about
what you're
Drunk
doing.
3PO.
Wait, did that loser Drunk 3PO not get back on Twitter yet?
No.
Is he still
No.
banned?
Yeah,
got yeeted, man.
DMCA.
For what? Do you know?
It was I
Big
think
Papa
Papa Pump memes.
no,
sorry.
it wasn't Big Papa Pump or Big Appy Pump like me. I got yeeted for the Big Appy Pump meme. Drunk got hit for the
Careless
the Gina
Whisper.
Carano, Careless Whisper, Gina Carano sex.
I've never seen Drunk 3PO.
Oh, he's
the
a
most
dish.
handsome man on the internet.
He's
He's
a
a
he's a
dish?
the most
dish.
handsome man on the internet.
Yeah, he's yeah.
More of a
Yeah.
dish than Ryan and Jeremy?
You know what? I'm comic skate. Yeah, he's
If
cute.
you like tall, dark, and handsome, he's definitely taller and darker than the two of those.
You're not gonna have the handsome, are you?
Very handsome.
You're just gonna leave that to the side.
Sorry, Mark.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel special live stream here on Monday night with one of my good friends, and so glad that you could be joining us here tonight. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an interesting conversation. We're going to get into a lot of different topics, and I'm very, very honored to have my friend John Bartolo here all the way from Las Vegas. And if you don't know who he is, in the description below, right in the description, you can check out his YouTube channel, his podcast, all these things. But I'm just going to bring him on and we're just going to get right to it. John, how are you, sir?
My brother, it's an honor to be here, first of all, but I cannot beat that intro. Oh my God, that lead in, I started to fall in love with you. Are you kidding me? You cannot beat that. You guys do such a great job, but just the promo stuff, everything. It's a be here, an honor to be on the show, and I respect the hell out of you, so I can appreciate it.
Bro, you don't. This is your first time stepping in to a Drunk 3PO live stream. I mean, I've got clips for days.
Drunk. Good morning, Drunk. So you guys don't know, Drunk 3PO is the sexiest man on YouTube. He's probably gonna clip this later, but I don't care.
I mean, I'm just saying. So, like, when I need a little break, I need a little pick me up, need a little boost.
It's all right there.
It's just a click away. It's just a click. It's just a click away. How are you doing tonight? Good
I'm doing terrific. Coming off a great weekend. We just recently did an event with the UFC. We were out on the range hanging out. A lot of fun hanging out with those guys. I love getting to play around in that market, and I have a lot of friends there, so I enjoy it. And getting outside's never a bad thing. I know you know that.
Oh no, I love it.
Love
it. That's why I live in Florida, where we've been outside for a long time.
Yeah, you're in a great area for it. Minus no mountains, you got to deal with alligator country and swamp country, but minus the mountains. Plus, you're not in a woke state, so that helps.
No, it helps. Yeah, it helps a lot. My man Biggles for $5. John Bartolo, good luck, John, with Drunk on his channel. Just comes in to wish us well.
Biggles is great, isn't he?
He's freaking amazing, man. I was so glad to hang out with him in Vegas, actually. And we rode the New York, whatever that's called, roller coaster ride.
Did you listen to Careless Whisper while you did that?
That's Gina Carano's theme song. So we just, every time she shows up, we just play that. We just play that tune. So
I really enjoyed having you guys out here too. By the way, on a side note, I don't want to glaze over that. I got to spend some time with you guys, and I did really enjoy everything with you guys, just hanging out, seeing the culture, seeing the folks. So many people come out to see you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. I was like, wow, this is freaking awesome. But you guys have such a great fan base and so much interaction.
It was very special, wasn't it? It was very special. I was thinking like the second time out, if John can't deal with this the second time out, then I'm not ready. That'll be over.
I'm not ready for the fandom.
Don for $5 asked a question. Says, please ask if John got his Rebellion hat yet.
I have had hats. I have had shirts. Don, that's a great question. I am a huge supporter of the Rebellion clothing line, and I think everybody should participate in everything Jay does because I know the work he puts in behind the scenes. So yes, I do have a hat. The problem is I have so many hats too.
I know.
So many hats.
I know when I was at John's place, he was like, I've got like 1,000 hats, like triple duplicates, 10 of each. Take some home with you, please. Like get him moving. Get him moving. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. Thomas Gilkey, a fellow Boston guy.
Oh wow.
Thomas Gilkey. I'm gonna go see him in Boston here.
Shout out to Beantown
next week. He's like, much love to the both of you. Love meeting you, John, and love seeing you drunk. Can't wait to see you and get the Rebellion hat and rep it Friday. You met Thomas in Vegas. He was at the meetup.
Yeah.
He came over to say hey.
I remember we were touching on that story before we went live. Awesome guy.
Oh yeah, Thomas is great. A huge supporter. Lulu again, a super sticker. She sent a $10 super sticker that I couldn't highlight. Now another $5. Look at you, crazy woman here supporting. Thank you so much, Lulu. And Daryl for $5 says, "Hail, John Bartolo. Look at all your fan base showing up. They're showing up in full force."
Listen, we appreciate these guys, and the way you motivate your guys is quite amazing. It's really what you guys do is something that creates a community. It's more than just anything. It just creates a community.
Let's see. I think we got.
I did spend 2 hours. That's my cousin John. I did spend 2 hours looking for it. He knows the depths of my sorrows looking for that.
And Don was like, "Did you get this hat?" Yeah, I think John got a hat. If
I
not,
do.
I will definitely send him.
I have plenty of Drunk 3PO clothing that I've worn, including his own personal items that he may have left behind while in Vegas. There is one shirt in particular I have been strangling myself and smelling while I have my private time that belonged to Jay.
I fell asleep on your couch.
I know, because I'm into that kind of stuff.
This person here, Stephanie, memed the hell out of me from that.
Steph, thank you. So, I appreciate that. Miss you guys too. I mean, it was so much fun having you guys out here.
Code, insert thought-provoking message here for $5. That's a good message, Code. It's a great message. Nice shirt you got on there, buddy. Good message. But anyway, I asked John to come on. We've been talking on the phone like a lot about podcasts and things like that. And keep your questions coming. If you have a question for John, don't hesitate. We'll definitely get to them. Do things a little different here on the YouTube live, not the pod. Oh, look, he's stretching.
That's it.
He's putting his legs up.
Hey, listen, you played Careless Whisper. I'm looking to do this like relaxing, I'm already like in rest mode. I'm pumped to be on, and any questions anybody has, don't hesitate to ask. I'll do my best to answer them as best as possible. I know Jay has some prepared, but guys, fire them away if you have any questions. I can tell you how to blow some shit up or something. So
Rogue 10 says, "Who is John and why is he here?" That's a great, like, we're getting like the crossover from the geek culture community
sure
into like what kind of community would you say you were in? Like, what if you were to label yourself? Like, what is your audience? What is your main audience?
I would say if I know this is a very YouTube centric audience. If you take a moment and you go check out whether it's Instagram or any of the other pages, you can kind of see a little bit of my history there, at least in pictures. And I'm not saying you can't read or anything, but there's a whole breakdown there of pretty much everything I've been into. I was fortunate enough at a very young age to become a CEO of a rifle company and a barrel company, and work for a bunch of different brands through the years. through the years being in the firearms industry as an executive, I was lucky enough to kind of be very outspoken and someone that, you know, didn't adhere to kind of the standard or what was attempting to be the norm. And I think you all can understand and relate to that. So I'd be very outspoken about certain organizations, whether it was the NRA, the NSSF, certain groups. I would have my criticisms. I'm a huge supporter of the Second Amendment. I don't think that's up for debate. I think anybody can figure that out. But I also, you know, felt the need that the community had to be more vocal and the community needed to step up and start talking. So over the years, I became kind of a guy who was like 8 times a marketing director, you know, had all these different titles at brands. And I was fortunate to build it into a platform where in the defense community, I'm fortunate enough to have some folks that look at me for some advice and some guidance. And I work with some really great brands.
So after all that, why podcast?
Well,
Like,
that's a great.
Did you just wake up one day and we're like, I think we could talk about stuff? Was there a podcaster out there that inspired you, or was it like, I just feel like I want to start a podcast to talk about things that are important to me? But before that, Chris Coran for $2 says, "Can John lead a manhunt for your missing fedora?"
That's a good one.
You know, I lost my fedora in Vegas.
That's terrible. The Panama Jack. That's terrible.
It's like world famous. Like Gino had that hat on. Like it's in like everything.
It's in a.
It's my Twitter avatar. It's like
it's in a lagoon in Okeechobee now.
So after the first meetup, I thought I had a lot to drink that night by accident. People kept handing me drinks, and you're just like, you know, they're like, hey, it's Drunk 3PO here, try this. I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, hey, it's Drunk 3PO, try this. Like, hey, that's cool. And so they after a while, I didn't it was like I didn't know what was going on. I went back to the Luxor and I pulled out $20 to play the digital, I don't know what game it was, where digital craps. There's no one there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I put $20 in, and I remember I put it on the field, I think, where you could play 2, whatever it was, and I won. And as soon as I won once, I hit the button and got the money and
Get
went up
that money.
and bought some Twinkies. Because I don't gamble. I don't like it, but gambled. I bought some Twinkies, and that's the last I remember.
That's it.
Where that hat was. I could have just easily just set it down and not know on my head. So, Lord Vito for $2 says, yo, John is the man.
I have my moments. I don't know if I'm the man. I would say this. I think I'm a decent hangout like partner. I think I'm a good friend. I think I can hold my own in that regard. I don't know about the man. I think Jay's the man. I think that's real. I would say like I'm like a good hype man. Like I can wave the towel. I'm okay with that, Lord Vito.
Lord Vito's fellow Florida boy. So
I'm okay with that.
He knows good people, man. He knows good people. So anyway, back to the original question.
Why a pod?
Jay, something's going on with your mic. Is it echoing? Does it sound funny? There's a double echo sometimes. Yeah. That's because you're dealing with crappy equipment on my end that's trying to convert with like really high end stuff on his end.
That's not true.
So we're trying to make it. We're trying to like make it work. That's all.
Daryl's exactly right. I'm the corner man. Jay gets the ladies. I'm the corner man. That's it. That's perfect. Throw the damn towel. So why a podcast? It's a good question. A lot of people ask that. I started the podcast by kind of happenstance. I had been transitioning and I was actually going down to Florida to tell this story. It's a boring one, but it'll make some sense. I didn't know really what I wanted to do. And I knew I'd probably take another job in the firearms industry, but I needed some time off. So I was going to head down to Florida, do some, what better place, right? Do some fishing, hang out, just chill out, go see my friends down in Miami. Jay knows I got a ton of friends down there. And I started this podcast, a couple of months before literally in my kitchen. I was like, I'll start this thing. I'll just get up there and I'll just start talking. And originally, this is how janky I was. I would have friends call in and I would just throw it on like speakerphone. And that was like, it started to become a thing. And I just really enjoyed talking to people. I think anybody who's had a phone conversation with me, and you have, Jay, many times, I enjoy the art of the conversation, and I think the conversation is dead. And it kind of like the written word, like we're trying to revive it through tools like this, but it takes, you know, the willingness and the desire to get in front of a mic and start to do it. And then little by little, as I was traveling and I was doing these, and I was mainly focused on the audio. So I know a lot of your guys say it's a tremendously undersubscribed YouTube account, blah, blah, blah. Like I get a lot of those really cool comments from your guys. I really didn't dive into YouTube until this was probably like my first full year focusing on it. Like really making it a point to do YouTube well. And you can tell that by looking at some of my clips. They only go back about a year because I really just didn't value that type of, I didn't understand that like podcasting could be a live stream as well. And I wasn't marrying that in my head. And we all go through this, right? And I was just figuring that out. And then I decided to do the studio. And I decided to do the studio after coming to Vegas because I got, you know, on my way down to Florida, I had gotten offered a job. They said, whatever it takes, can we get you down to Vegas? I said, I'll come down to Vegas, but I have this podcast. And they ended up saying, well, we're finishing building a podcast studio. We'd love to have you. So I came to Vegas. I started working in the AK game, import and export AK-47s, things like that. But, you know, it was kind of crazy for me because I had driven from Montana to the NRA show to Florida, you know, to Miami. Then from Miami, I got the call, and within 2 weeks, I was in Vegas in an apartment, and boom, just recording the show. And the transition to the studio, I had done my time with that last company, and as my contract was coming up, we were trying to work out negotiations. I said, you know, now, because I knew where the show was kind of starting to go, I said, now would be a good time for me to get this out of here before they think they own it. And unfortunately, sometimes, you know, that leads to an unfriendly negotiation in some ways. So you have to be prepared to part ways, but it was the right move in the end. I had some really great sponsors that got behind it, and they wanted my outspoken message. I think in general, at the core of
what's your outspoken message?
Well, that's what I was going to say, Jim.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. 3PO.
Oh, my bad.
At the core of my, you know, and my message, I think, is just what you guys preach, which leads into how I found you guys. It's not so much just to complain for the sake of complaining, but I think a conversation needs to be started about some of these things. And for whatever reason today, having a conversation about anything is considered like, you know, you might have to be sent away or locked up or, you know, castrated for just moving the dialogue forward. You can't question anything today. And I became very inquisitive of a lot of the executives in the firearms industry, the way firearms were marketed, the way firearms were portrayed, the arguments people were getting into regarding the Second Amendment and firearms. And it never really made sense to me. And if you listen to a lot of my shows, I wanted to just put people that were pro 2A, that were supportive of freedom in front of a gun wall and just have a conversation and not have it be this invasive thing. And I thought that was a great way to continue to see, kind of form like our own list, like who are our friends. And that should make sense to everybody if you catch what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you got to plant a flag and see who comes around it.
Exactly.
You just gotta like on Twitter, sometimes you just gotta like throw out a statement.
Right.
And then you'll see like, what? Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Is my mic messing up again?
Yeah, your mic's a little synthesized. But no, yeah, see? But yeah, I mean, I think it was just a matter of, you know, finding the right rhythm. And then I wanted to do guest based because I really, along the way, somebody said to me, they go, John, you meet with a lot of really cool people. You talk to a lot of really cool people. You should start recording those conversations. I go, well, that's called wiretapping. I'm like, I'm not going to do that, but I am okay with, you know, having them on a show and there's a microphone in front of them and they know then that they're broadcasting the story. And I wanted it to be in-person interviews because I felt that was very powerful. Unfortunately and fortunately, when I got into the game, there was a lot of people diving into the podcast game. Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and a lot of different groups were diving in, but nobody was doing a pro 2A slant, which was really important to me. And I thought the people had as Second Amendment supporters and First Amendment supporters, I felt that we had in the community really weren't getting the message right. And I felt like they needed a voice from someone that actually worked within the industry. And I think one of the problems we have, Jay, and we see this all the time, is a lot of people support false gods. They support people that don't really understand or have the inside advice or really are talking to the people on the ground level and really are involved. And we've seen that in our industry with so many people. And part of it is frustrating, you know, when people start to gravitate towards those types of folks, because I know they're not on the ground level or on the phones, because I am. And I know that they don't know exactly what is going on. Like, you know, and you've probably seen some of that with people that speculate certain things in Hollywood, certain things that are happening around your ecosphere. But I felt like, you know, we need somebody that actually talks to these people and actually is involved, you know, to speak up here. And I took on that responsibility, and for Bears ended up really building a life around it and an income and a living and making it my goal to get the best content out there and the best folks in front of their freedom, and just supporting that. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah. And again, trying to get my mic going, so forgive me if
sounds good.
I don't know why we've had problems. I've had problems with it like for a good minute, so it is what it. Of course, when John comes on, like it messes up, but we'll see. We'll keep going. It is what it is. All right, a couple of super chats says no void for $5. Get John down here to Florida, and let's all go shooting. I've been trying to get him down.
Who's buying the ammo? Who's buying the ammo?
Trying to get him down, trying to get him, you know, round and all that stuff. So let's see. Lord Vito for $2 says, wait, did I get everything? Yeah, Noel says Lord Vito for $2. And I'm the plug. Come to Florida. We'll link up. Look at that, man. He's really pushing. Lord Vito again. Jay, such a good guy. Even I want to kiss him. LOL. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you. You know, one of your guys, Code Economics, he said something good. You know, it's sad how many people in the gun industry are fake, and how simple it is for sales and not the freedom. And that's a really good statement. Whoever that is the Village Idiot he goes by. He pays attention. There's a lot in the firearms business. So a lot of people dove in. You had your Corleone Noirs, your Dana Lashes, that I'll be honest, I don't know how they built their following, and I don't know how they built their support structure, because neither one of them have ever worked in the gun industry. Neither one of them have ever, I've never seen some of them shoot a gun before in my life. I've never, you know, there's a lot of that, and people, they're not really speaking from knowledge, and they're not actually involved in the day-to-day. They're just spokespeople. They become like almost like created spokespeople. And whenever you see someone that is a manufactured spokesperson for something, it's almost like, can you trust their message? Are they really an insider? Does their phone really ring? Are they actually talking to the people? As you know, Jay, I mean, my phone rings with everybody, and I talk to everyone constantly. You know, I've done it on air. It's a constant thing. And I try to tell folks, be very leery where you get your information from. It's amazing to me how much some of these people capitalize on other people's stupidity, because they just move.
It's true. I told him, I said, if Dana White calls, please answer the phone live. I want to make sure we hear that. Matt Vader for $5. This is like a superhero team up. Don't blow up YouTube, guys. Still looking for the fedora, Jay. Keep inspiring. You met the Salty Nerd podcast earlier today, did you not? Like they came and hang
by. Those were very kind guys. Stop by, say hello, chat a little bit. Super good guys. Appreciated, you know, all their time, and they seem like they're pretty cool.
Good people. I want to highlight a couple people here. The Road, he's got his new hat on. That's awesome. I see it. This one, JT got his hat on. I'm glad you guys are finally getting it in the mail. After all that, after 9line was like, you think you'll sell 10? You think you'll sell 10? Like we're planning for 10.
You know,
Patrick says, John. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I said I was going to say I think they need to retool their numbers a little bit, entice you.
They weren't ready like for the rebellion crowd. Like now that we set the record,
them with the shirts, you're going to have to show them. You're going to have to make a point now. Send a message.
Yeah. They're ready this time. So Patrick for $5 says, John, I have mixed feelings about Uncle Ted.
Oh yeah, so that's
Where are you
another
with
guy,
it?
another guy who's educated. So he's referring to Ted Nugent. I like Ted Nugent. I like Uncle Ted. I think some of his write-ups in what's John's magazine, Hook and Barrel. Sorry, I know the owners. I'm trying to remember the name of the magazine, but the Hook and Barrel magazine, he does an editorial piece in there. I like some of the stuff Ted says. I will say my only criticism of Ted Nugent, or my only thing is, like, who remembers him, right? Like Cat Scratch Fever came out 50 years ago. It's one of those things I appreciate when people get up there and they're outspoken, but you also have to remember, you see him on guys, and when you're watching him on air, he's an enthusiast. You see what I'm saying? He's an enthusiast. An enthusiast sometimes. Absolutely. Once you start hanging out with the likes of a Gina Carano like you have, Jay, and once you start be going on the inside, you're no enthusiast, you're an insider. You start to know some of the information that's actually going on. And there's things you come public with, and there's things that you don't. And I think sometimes when you follow or support an enthusiast, you have to be very careful with that. I think you have to realize they're speaking from maybe almost an irrational place. It's kind of like a baseball card collector is always going to tell you the best thing to invest in is baseball cards. Mm-hmm. So you have to be a little aware of that.
A great question here from a friend of mine, a Turbo Green. Might be an obvious question. So far as spending my money on this issue, a young single woman, is it impressive to have several sidearms, or is it better just to know just one and have ammo for it?
Well, normally, the easiest suggestion, guys, is go buy a Glock, right? If you live in a state, just Glock. If you're just looking for a home defense weapon, anything, just go buy a Glock 19. Stick with 9mm. It's going to be forgiving. It's going to give you a lot of forgiveness when you shoot. And, if you like something a little thinner, a little smaller, maybe a Glock 43, something along those lines, 48X, something like that, go check them out. I mean, they make a lot of good products. Obviously, Sig Sauer, I'm a huge fan of. The P320 series is phenomenal. Go check out Sig. They're a sponsor of the show. I suggest a lot of different guns because I try not to show my bias. Obviously, Sig is a huge part of the show and I support them. But I think you can find what you're looking for pretty quickly if you go to a gun shop or a range and you just try a few of them out. But I would stick with one. I call it continuity of ammunition. So if you maintain 9mm in all your guns and double stack magazines, you can pretty much use them in every gun.
Well, that was a great answer. And David Harvey for 100. Thank you. Unbelievable support, David. So much going on in the realm of firearms. Appreciate everything John does to educate and inform everyone onward and upwards, gents. Thank you so much, David.
Yeah.
Education is the key.
Yeah.
It's the key to it all, honestly. It's the key.
I know David didn't ask a question, but I think, David, for me, it's about just putting friends of ours in front of that wall. I'm Italian, so I have a little bit of that Bronx Tales slang. Like it's a little bit of a friend of ours thing. And to all you guys out there, it's a little bit of our own cheat sheet. Like these guys are with us. And I think I don't think it needs to be a show that talks about specifically about every shot or anyone's ever taken or every range day anyone's ever gone to. It's just more about saying, hey, this guy sits with us, and he's cool with this. So when I have the opportunity to put on Dana White's or any large guest or UFC fighter, anybody that I consider a very capable person, David, it's important to me that all you guys know and everybody in your fan base, when you come to my channel, you can see kind of who's a supporter and who's a part of the gang, so to speak.
Null Void for $2 says thoughts on repealing NFA, John. If you feel like answering, you don't have to. It's up to you.
Null and void. I think the NFA it can easily be replaced. I mean, let's face it, the NFA is basically the ATF's fee arm that can capture any fees and enjoys charging $200 for a tax stamp. I think all that can be cleared up very easily, and I put my thoughts out there on that. I think there's no reason why at the register, when you pay for your suppressor, that they can't serialize that. I'm okay with the serialization of it to an extent. I'm okay with the NFA making its money per se, but it doesn't need to be a 6-month wait, and it doesn't need to be a 12-month wait. If you want to register suppressors, I say go for it. But I think in the repealing of the NFA, the trade-off I would like to see, or if the NFA stays, it's not so much about repealing the NFA. I'd love to see full autos become more of a thing. I think that's an easy fix vis-a-vis tax stamp, but I think I think the NFA, there's a trade that I think works, but there's no question the NFA is just a fee arm. I mean, they lost their mind when pistol braces came out because why? Nobody was buying, short barrel rifles, SBRs. So they lost out on all those $200 tax stamps. So now they were going after pistol braces. It's common sense. They shot themselves in the foot when they approved them, because who the fuck is going to build a rifle when you a short barrel rifle when you can build a pistol? That was just a mistake on their part.
Look at this guy, man. John's just like taking over. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, they're good questions. You have a very educated audience. These guys are great.
My audience is amazing, and they surprise me every single time. It's
you get a member of the droid army here.
Yeah, he says I own a Glock 9. I own a 9mm Glock 43X.
Yep.
Has a 10-shot clip. It's a little heavy for concealed carry, but it's a great gun for a woman. My friend carries a 45 Kimber.
Yeah, I mean, a 45 Kimber is a compensation for a small penis. I don't necessarily think Kimber is the best way to go, but
that was a woman.
Yeah, it's kind of a nickel-plated sissy pistol. If you're a girl and you shoot a Kimber, it's cool though.
Pastor Flash Drunk needs to make himself fedoras. It's on the way.
It's in the works. It's on my desk. It's on my desk.
It's on. Yeah, it's like there's a list, and I'm like hitting the different lists, things like that. So how long have you? So we're getting back to a little bit. How long have you been doing the podcast?
So I've been doing the podcast now for a little over 3 years, I would say. Roughly, someone could correct me on if Daryl, if you're in here, you could correct me. But I think somewhere around 3 years, and I'm closing in right now. So you're having me on the show at an advantageous time in terms of where I'm at. I'm closing in on 400 episodes. I think I'm about 4 episodes shy. So coming in on a milestone, that's well over a year's worth of 1 hour conversations. And I find that pretty wild. And, one of the things that I think is cool about it is, those podcasts live forever, and it's really cool to look back and see that I've had, 500 or 1,000 conversations with these people. If it, keeps going strong and I get a lot of support. And one of my things has just been, building it up, getting it out there and getting it proliferated. As I tell everybody, just, if people like it, support, like it, comment, and get the message out there, because we need more strong voices.
I just want to give a shout out to all the amazing women in the chat. I know they're seeing 2 alpha males right now doing our thing. We both had chicken wings.
Well, mine are away, yeah.
But they're covered in I got mine in hot Fritos. Covered in hot Fritos.
Yeah.
So John's about to have that too. So it's just how we are. Oh, Jedi Bunny is here. Hello, Jedi Bunny. She met John.
Jedi. Yeah.
Look at that. She really appreciates you. Wicked Virtue's here. Let me just shout out all the beautiful women here. A2 is here. Trouble Green is here. Dr. Rachel is here. It goes on and on. If I miss somebody, wait, I knew there was someone out. Agent Bossy Boots is here. Nice to see all you ladies in the chat. If I missed, Rogue 10 is here. If I missed one, apologize.
Agent Bossy Boots.
Gotta give a shout out to the ladies. Kaylee's here. I see you. Just saying. Biggo says I'm not a pretty woman.
Oh,
that's okay.
You look a great lady.
That all right. So other than me, because you can't say me, did you ever have like a favorite? Like, did you ever have like a favorite guest? It just kind of blew you away. Maybe it was someone you didn't think. I got you, Callista. Sorry, Callista's on there too. Sorry. I forgot someone they would tell me. So
I have to say, Drunk 3PO is high up the list.
I appreciate that. But.
For sure. It's interesting when you're booking guests and you're considering how you want to shape your show and you want to, kind of figure out what type of audiences you want to talk to. You start to become very open. You make the show like Switzerland. And I would say I was shocked a couple times, very surprised. I mean, I had multiple representatives in the House of Representatives. We had Lee Zeldin on. We've had Congressman Greg Stube, who put the Hearing Suppression Act up. We had, multiple times Donald Trump Jr. on. So I've been blessed to have a lot of really good guests. I would say I'm more surprised at how nice everybody is to ask. And I tell everybody this, you just have to ask, and you have to ask in a way that, you know, humbles you a little bit and is honest and sincere. Like when I ask folks to be on, I am genuinely excited to have them on. And, you know, everybody, you know, I got so amped up about having the sports card collector guy on. You would never know that that's something I enjoy. We got to talking. He was a Georgia guy. You know what I'm saying? He was, you know, one of the good old boys. We got to talking about cards and investing and money. And I just, you know, I was like, I get along with this guy really well. And sometimes when you open up your process, see, here's the thing. What makes a lot of the talking heads on the right uber successful in many ways is because we're willing to say, like, we don't want certain things in our world. We don't want racism. We don't want this. We don't want that. And we put it in a box and we set it aside. Unfortunately, on the left, the reason it's harder for them to create meaningful dialogue and meaningful conversations like Ben does or Jordan Peterson or some of these guys is because they don't want to put anybody in a box and accept that somebody might be a little too far off the deep end. They want to say we're all off the deep end, but they can't have the ability. So in booking guests, it's funny, like we have our standards, and I was really, you know, taken aback when, you know, especially when industry leaders or people I consider SMEs are willing to be on. I can genuinely say, like when I asked you, I mean, it's crazy to me because people get on a plane and actually fly to come do my show. So every guest is truly, I'm floored at times. And some, you know, obviously you can't do that. And I'm amazed at people that just want to come by and have a conversation with me. You know, Jay, it's you know, so I'm flattered all the time. And to say there's one that stands out, I really enjoy chatting with my good friend Jay Cutler, who's a bodybuilder. I have a lot of fun with Jay on. We go back, we're from the same area. You go back and you look at my episode with Dana White, we have a lot of good back and forth, and a lot of that's because we grew up in the same area. You know, something about that Boston area had a lot of magic at the time. Joe Rogan came out of Newton High Schools, I believe. Jay Cutler out of Sterling, Mass, and Dana, of course, you know, from Boston. So it was really a great melting pot of guys, and there's so Bill Burr being another one. There's so many awesome guys that just came out of the area.
The crazy thing is, and we have a great question for you. I'm just making a statement, is that's the thing that I appreciate people like John and others, because they open their doors to different thought process and that are willing to come and talk, to have a conversation. And we are losing that in this country every day so quickly. We're going to get into a little pop culture. Little Gina Carano because of Vegas, cancel culture, things like that. So that's what's coming up. But I love all the questions. Let me get to one. Patrick has a great question, but let me get you first for $10. Thank you for the support, guys. Amazing. Hit the like button. Really helps out the channel. And if I hear my mic echoing, I'll just pause for a second and it'll get back to normal. Just wanted to say thank you for being our champions. John, our 2A champion, and Jay, our rebellion champion. I'll fight for our rights as long as I can walk on this earth. Jiu-Jitsu is awesome. Father wrote a book, police officer stories. It's incredible. I'm so glad that you sent that to me. And in the next few weeks, we're going to do some highlights of my YouTube members and some of the things that they have. Jiu-Jitsu, I'm going to push that book. It's an amazing read. Patrick T has a question. Now, this is a little out of my league. So maybe... Can you see the question? Is there anything happening legislatively to establish a countrywide CCW permit? I don't even.
Patrick, great
help
question.
Me out with that. Explain what that is first. What is it?
Sure. What Patrick's referring to is basically like a driver's license. If you get CW, you have what's called national reciprocity. When you have national reciprocity, and that's the term I think you might have been searching for when you typed that up. When you have national reciprocity, just like your driver's license is a driver's license is a driver's license. In Massachusetts, Florida, It doesn't matter. Nevada, it's all the same. I thought we had a great. It's a really good question, and I'm glad you brought it up. Again, your audience is phenomenal. I think it was something we should have went for when we went for the National Suppressor Act, and I think part of the problem was we got greedy and we wanted to go for it. That really was a baseless, meaningless act in the National Suppressor Act. I was not a fan of that act, and I didn't think that stood a chance, because nobody really understood it. But I thought we had a real shot at national reciprocity, and nobody was really, understanding that should have been the goal. And someone else said he read that as permitless carry. What you're referring to, Codenomics, is constitutional carry, meaning the Constitution says I have the right to bear arms, then I can carry. The problem with that at a national level is it doesn't say you have the ability to carry, conceal carry. CCW refers to conceal carry a firearm, and that is a permitted process. I'm okay, and guys, this may answer a coming question. I'm okay with the permit process. I'm okay with a permit, but I'm going to explain something to you when I say that. Okay? Permits help the instructors. Okay? The instructors need to make a living. We need to support the instructors. My issue with the permit process is the permit is issued by the state, agreed to by the sheriff or captain, depending on where you live and who has the power. And it's overseen by a class, by either someone who teaches from the NRA or whomever. The problem I have with that process is nobody wants the responsibility, which causes tremendous problems and angst when they're trying to figure it out. The reason I say a CCW permit is okay is I have a lot of friends that are instructors, and I enjoy supporting the instructor community. And if it forces everybody to go and take a class to be able to conceal carry, and instructors are able to continue to make their living off of that, then I support that, and I think that that's okay. And I understand why it exists.
Fabulous. Salty Nerd shows up with 20. Says, wanted to thank Jay for introducing us to John. We had a chance to hang out with him and talk shop this morning. He's generally a great and generous guy. Helped us out a ton. Stay golden, Jay, with the heart. That was a crazy night because, again, I had a lot to drink. And I was using John Bartolo as like a pawn. I kept saying, hey, you want to meet John Bartolo? I know the guy.
That's funny.
And I just kept bringing people over. I was like, John, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so.
Yeah, that was a crazy night. I met
the alcohol on that. That was a little.
blame it on the vodka. Blame it on the Henny.
I don't know what they gave me.
I
don't know what they gave me, but Salty Nerd's a great. Check out their podcast as well.
I had a fun time with them this morning. They stopped in, and truly, that's the stuff that's the most flattering, Jay. And I could tell your audience is when people genuinely reach out and want to spend some time. Those guys know we took a couple weeks getting a meeting together because I really wanted to give them my time. And when I sit with someone, I like to put the phone away and just try to give them the attention. It's hard, I know everybody struggles with that, but it's important to me when someone genuinely wants to seek advice, because I think. And you touched on this, Jay. I think, and this is not my quote. I think first you should seek to understand, then seek to be understood. And I think you should try to understand everybody else and what they're trying to do. And it helps you better understand the people. And I think, one of the things I do very well, besides talking into a microphone at times for extended more than people would like, I think, is I really like the study of people, and I like figuring out what makes them tick, what makes them move, why they do the things they do, and it helps me in business. And I think sitting and having a conversation for 1 hour face to face with someone could be really good for each other. In the old days, like our grandparents, Jay, people would go play cards, sit, they would play dominoes, they would play checkers. That is all lost today. That is all lost. And I think technology has sped people up in such a way. But again, like I said, you have a lot of people shoving a message in front of you, including the 100 and 200 people that are in here in this chat. You have to be choosy who you support, and you should really consider the people you throw your weight behind. And it's important. And the little thumbs ups and the shares and everything, Jay knows, they go a long way, guys. Don't discount that. I truly appreciate the support this community has and what people do. And I think it's tremendously important. And I think everybody would benefit from at least once a month, like taking a walk on a beach, having a conversation with somebody, almost even a total stranger sometimes.
That was the biggest thing that I learned in Haiti was when I first got there after the earthquake in 2010. I was like, I gotta build everything the way I think it needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
And so it was my mindset that was like, I got to do it this way, and nothing was working until I took like 6 months. I stopped everything and I hung out with the people, listened to the people, talked to the people, started to learn their language, what makes them tick, what are their hopes and dreams, and it changed everything. It changed everything. And we got a lot of stuff done positively over there when I finally was like, no, you need this. They're like, that's not what we want. That's not going to help our country. I'm like, but I think you do. Like, trust me, you need this. And it was my, whatever you want to call it, ego, whatever it is. And it was just me saying, I know what's best for you. Right. And they're like, you came all the way over here to tell us what you think is best for us. Our country's in shambles. Everything's broken. And you're like, you could be this, you're going to be the savior. You're going to fix everything. And when I sat back and just listened, it was just like, yeah, well, I did everything wrong. So let's do everything right. And boom, boom, boom. Things started happening in such a positive way. So like, I think that's huge. But we live in a time now where if you disagree, we don't want to have a conversation.
Right.
We want to cancel you. Cancel. Let's cancel John. Let's cancel John. I don't like his gun. I don't like the fact that he said this is what a woman should carry. I don't like it. Let's cancel him. He's done.
It's a terrifying time, Jay. It's a terrifying time. And I don't think people realize.
Before you get into that, though, do you think cancel culture today? I was doing a lot of reading, and a lot of these young students from colleges are writing about cancel culture. They're writing, I guess the term tar and feather, walks of shame. Like we kind of saw it in the Game of Thrones where you like they stripped everyone down naked, made them walk. But that's not really canceling. That was more like walks of embarrassment, so they don't do anything. But like what do you think cancel culture has just always been a part of human nature? Or have we got to this point where now it's blown, it's really gone overboard? Because listen, we used to burn people, we used to burn women because we thought they were witches. Is that cancel? I mean, if you look back on history, there was the Inquisition. When people wouldn't convert to Christianity, they were killed, or vice versa, other religions. When people weren't agreeing with certain political parties way back when, they were killed, or like, and then if governments, if countries wanted to like rule their way better than their way, that we'd have wars. I mean, you just go everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff. So where do you think we are now with the whole cancel culture?
Well, I think I want to start by saying I think power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think that's what people really need to understand. I mean, look what's going on in Australia right now. It is a war zone. And you see the erosion of freedoms. And Jay, you've been to Haiti, you've been on these missions. You understand what it is to go into a truly third world war-torn country, whether that's through urban violence or actual war. And when you understand that and you see that, it gives you an appreciation for this country. And I think what we've had since the baby boom generation, and again, I can't speak to the Inquisition and the witches. I do believe that is a form of cancel culture, but I'm not a historian. I do want to. I think in our lifetime, and that's the best, in our era, I think we've seen, a lot of us were raised by baby boomers, and a lot of us understand. I think baby boomers were babied by their parents. I think they're all in charge now. I think they're greedy, money hungry, really some of the most vile creatures. Like the greatest generation was our grandparents, or some of you, our great grandparents. By the time we got to the baby boomer generation, that was the children. Most of those people never served in the Vietnam War, or if they did, it might have been their parents. Were very entitled people because they were left a chunk of money because the generation before them was one of the wealthier generations, and they were set up to do very well. I don't think it's the millennials to blame. I think you have to blame the people in charge that have caused it. And I think cancel culture in general was born out of Me Too. And I think that the cancel culture that we know it now was born out of
social media now has taken cancel culture
as we know it. And I think people need to appreciate and understand that your freedoms are being eroded every day, and they're being like a pickaxe just chipped at every single day. And if you don't step up, you don't speak up, you don't say something. I tell people when they ask me, John, should I buy ammo? I say ammo is never going to be cheaper than it is right now. Let me say that again. It's never going to be cheaper than it is right now. Once people get a taste for high gas prices or high ammo prices or this or that, I mean, even the ammo companies raised prices at the manufacturing level while there was a run on ammo. Why? Because they could and you wouldn't feel it. So there's always that ability to raise the stake count, I always like to say, or raise the stakes on a situation. And the government's doing that every single day. I mean, they waltz a certain doctor out there every day, and they give him absolute power. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. We've seen the acquiescing on so many different topics, and they can't even with a straight. I mean, Jen Psaki's stepping down because she literally can't keep a straight face anymore with these questions. She can't.
Yeah.
If you watch her, Jay, she cannot keep a straight face. I know people that
can't even watch it anymore, man. I can't even watch it. It's like a clown show.
I hate to get all Stephen A, but I know
it's okay. It's okay.
It's true, and they can't even keep a straight face. That's why no one's going to stay in that job for a year, 2 years. Are you crazy to try to defend that Gong Show? You stay the whole way, you're going to be out of work because at some point it all becomes like The Onion. And I think that's a lot of what's going on. And in cancel culture in general, to your audience that I know is passionate about cancel culture, if you're going to truly practice it, everybody's done something wrong. Everybody could be cancelable. Everybody's had something in their past they could be canceled on. But where do you draw the line? And I know Bill Maher's come around to having this conversation, which is a huge step. And I think a guy like that could be the bridge. And I've said it many times, Jay. I think part of me thinks that the reason it'll turn is because Biden will become a better story as an invalid than he is as a president. Making him the hero, sooner or later they'll turn on him because his story is better as being incompetent. And then sooner or later, that's where the ratings will be. And it's all built on ratings. I mean, we say things aren't built on ratings. What's the first thing people cry about on YouTube? My views are low. So don't give me this bullshit that you're all about, I want to be pure and honorable. BS. All people care about is the ratings. Why? The ratings are what sells advertising. The ratings are what sells. And this is the stuff people won't tell you. And unfortunately, when people like Nicki Minaj or anybody step up and say, hey, my friend got the poke and his nuts don't work or whatever, even if it's a half-cocked joke, which we all know it was, they cut her off at the knees.
Yeah.
You know, they cut her off at the knee. That's a lot of what goes on.
It's insanity. Let me take a couple super chats and we'll get back to the conversation. Brian, thoughts on The Ninth Jedi? Thank you for the $20. I have not seen Star Wars Visions. Haven't watched it yet. I don't have Disney Plus. I'm one of the people that canceled it after they fired my friend, Gina. And if I want to watch something on Disney Plus, I usually go to my brother's house to watch it. But I haven't been able to go over there and seen it yet. But if I do get a chance and you're back in the chat, remind me, hey, I paid $20 for, upcoming, and I will do my best to answer it.
Get Jay a
Tugs
bootleg
is here. Well, I honestly haven't had time. I was in Mexico. Now I'm back over here and all that stuff. Tugs, two of my favorite people for $2.
I feel like Tugs should have been down here as like a special guest photographer during the episode. I feel like should have worked that out before. Dun, dun, dun. Special
I don't know if
guest.
she was at the game when you were at the game. She might have. I'm not sure.
No, I think she
Daryl
shared it and said, "I'm living my best life."
I see. Daryl for 5. So far, cancel culture has made people from the right or gun people who are famous not able to speak out. Not able to speak out.
Daryl, that's well said, and I know you follow a lot of my stuff, and Daryl's actually a moderator in my YouTube channel, the John Bartolo Show, and I think he's correct. I think it's just a lot of people are afraid to step up and actually speak. I mean, I ask the question all the time. You have a very informed, educated audience, Jay. How often on Fox News do they ever have anyone having the gun conversation that owns an FFL or actually owns a gun store or actually has their money tied to the industry? How many times have you seen a CEO from a firearms company on Fox News? No, all they do is take a former Navy SEAL or somebody like that and say, talk about gun rights. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever freaking seen. It makes no sense. So the people whose income are actually tied to to the industry, they don't even interview them.
Diego I appreciate your take, Diego. That's why I was asking questions. Using the presidents of the Inquisition as such as a form of cancel culture are decisionist about the context of the time. Where they believed more supernatural explanation. Gosh, you need a. I think that's what you wanted to say, right? Well, for things. Yeah, listen, I totally get that. I totally get that. What you're saying is because of their religious beliefs, they believe it's something bigger. That's why they killed people and things like that. But when it comes down to it, like that's why I was saying, like, what kind of canceling of a certain group or getting rid of. Listen, what cancel culture has done now on
you're scratching
Twitter,
crazy now.
Am I really? Is it like going? Is it back to normal?
No, fix your mic. Yeah, no, I get what he's saying.
I can't stand that when it's messing up.
I get what he's saying, and he's not wrong. But Diego, I would say this: whether you use the supernatural or anything as the guise of being able to cancel someone or burn them at the stake, the thing is they're using something like the poke now as a movement to cancel people. They're using certain things. So whatever the tool that they use, I think at the breadth of it is still cancel culture. But yes, I'm sure the Inquisition, things like that fall under. There's a supernatural component.
Oh yeah.
And that's from a lack of knowledge and a lack of understanding.
I don't know what's wrong with my mic.
Unplug it,
bad, isn't it?
Unplug it and plug it back in.
I just did.
Comic Chat said, "What up, drunk? Cancel culture is way out of hand. It's really sad that the world is going that way of thinking. I hope it's just a fad." I want to answer that one because while Jay fixes his mic, because I think that he's right. And I do think eventually cancel culture is going to cancel itself out. I don't think cancel culture can last because it's gone to such far extremes and it's gone to such far lengths. Like people are reaching now. Like we found a tweet from 14 years ago that said you called Steve 614, a dork and we're going to cancel you. And I think that's the stuff that's going to go the way of the dodo a little bit. I think that's the stuff that's going to go away. Because it's ridiculous.
Check 1 2.
Still a little scratchy, but better. It sounds like an Imperial probe droid. I agree with that.
Is it really that bad? That's
yeah.
Weird.
It's scratchy. Yeah, the tool, someone else brought it up, Dr. Rachel, the tool for canceling people in groups changes with every age, yes. But behind it hasn't changed. Yeah, that's 100% accurate.
I mean, look, this is what we're like living around. This guy's here. He's a blue check mark. And he's like, dude, I hope you get COVID and die.
And he's able to get it. And that's where it's insanely, where I talked about earlier, Jay, and I want to touch on this. It's important. This is where I talked about earlier. The left doesn't put people in boxes. They're not willing to say telling somebody to die is not okay. And that's what should scare the hell out of everybody. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Aside from everything else, what should scare you is their unwillingness to say, you know what, regardless of our differences, that's not okay. saying that is not okay. There's no one stepping up and acting in that way. And that's part of the problem, because basically, like, the gloves are off, the cuffs are off, the inmates are running the asylum. They can say whatever they want. They can put whatever they think about it. If somebody said that on our side of the fence or in our circle, there would hands down be canceled. Their Twitter would be pulled. It's ridiculous.
There goes my light. Everything's falling apart over here on my studio set.
You're fine. You're fine. Ask your next question. You can fix everything. You put your batteries back on.
Ooh, that's so crazy. There we go.
Your mic's probably just overheating.
Shout out to Geeks and Gamers. Man, I've live streamed for like 5 hours without a mic problem. I just wonder. I wonder if the cable's just now going bad, or for whatever reason. Who knows? What's up, Michelle? I see you in the chat. Star Wars Real Talk. I see you guys. Were you? Look, a lot of questions are coming in about cancel culture. Listen, we're having a conversation. I don't want anyone to get heated. I don't want anyone to get mad at each other in the chat. We welcome differences of opinion and different statements and things like that. So just, let us have that. It's a beautiful thing to talk. It's a beautiful thing to talk. And this is just what we are and what we're trying to do. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
No voices. How do you suggest we navigate moving forward when we're vilified for supporting our rights?
Well, I don't think you'll ever be vilified, No Void. I think that's reaching. If you're looking for some fucking cosmic apology, I don't think you're going to get it. If you're looking for somebody to say, you know what, this whole group of people are right, you're right when you vote. And when you vote and you put your guy in, or you speak up or share, that's when you're pushing your message. If you're referring to a greater mission of navigating all this, I don't think it's about navigating it. I think it's or acquiescing. I think it's about kicking the fucking door down. And I think it's about saying, no, we're here. This is what we believe. Is this still the country that we're free in to have the conversation, or is it not? Because if it's not, I'll go to Costa Rica or I'll go to somewhere else. I'm out. And I think that's what it's about. And it's about standing your ground and saying, hey, this is what I feel. I'm still in a country where I have the right to feel a certain way. If that answers that.
I think so. Snowed up for 2. Japanese didn't invade because of the Second Amendment.
There is some truth to that. And again, that might be a little bit of a riddle wrapped in an enigma. I'm familiar with that theory. I don't think you're wrong. I think more so the better example to look at, one of the reasons we couldn't win in Vietnam was because it's very hard to beat an armed indigenous population in its home turf. It's insanely difficult. It's been very hard to accomplish for thousands of years. I wouldn't want to start in Texas if I was thinking of invading.
Some heated comments coming through, man. Cancel culture really touchy. Duke says, I'm an Aussie, and thanks to the police here, I can't leave the country to see my wife. I haven't seen her since February 2020. That's how restricted we are. Keep up the good work, gents. Number one.
Luke, shout out to all my Australian friends, and I have tons in the fight game in the UFC, and they have a very difficult time getting to this country to even feed their family to go to and fight. It's a shame. It's a mess.
My heart goes out to you, brother. Like that's it's very hard for someone like me to even understand what even some people in this country is going through, because in Florida, when we were locked down for only about 3 weeks, it was very weird. Like, and I couldn't imagine people being months after month after month. After the 3 weeks, we started opening up. Restaurants were opening up. Everything. People were walking. People were going back to the park. We were outside. We were going to the beach. Our governor started lifting tolls, saying drive, go out there. Our theme park started opening. I'm taking selfies at theme parks because they're so empty. And people in other states are like, what are you doing? Like, how did you get, or did you break in? And it's just like, now we're open, man. Like we're open. We're open. The problem isn't stupid people. Those have been around forever. The problem is platforms like Twitter and MSM saying that they are right and elevating them. I think you have a point there. In some instances, yeah. I mean, it's just, that's how it is. Yeah, Jay has wore out cables. Yeah, that's how it is. Daryl, would love to see you all in the John Bartolo chat room. Yes, the link to his YouTube channel is in the description. If you're not subscribed, he has great conversations, amazing guests, and it's down there. So please subscribe over. Star Wars Real Talk for $1. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support here. Your mic must be haunted. Yeah, maybe I dropped it. I don't know. It was working fine like the past few days, but I can hear an echo. I'm telling you, I think it's like crappy stuff trying to like mix with like really good stuff over there.
Once you talked about the witches, the mic went.
Why can't we riot? Why?
Well, that's a great question. A lot of people do say that. I think, and I want to take that question in the sense that I think you mean it. I think there's a conflicting intersection, right? You can't be anti-police and anti-military and then attempt to get to gun confiscation, right? So I'm going to kind of answer this question in a roundabout way. It's very hard to be those things. I don't think rioting is necessary. I think what people have to do is people have to step up just like you and start sharing and putting this stuff out there and putting this message out there. And I don't think it'll come to that. I think the riots that have gone on previously, which if you're referencing those, were a joke. I mean, those were just people that didn't want to go to work in the morning. It's honest to God truth. So I don't think necessarily rioting, we're at that point. Maybe get some ammo, but.
Cancel culture has been a science for a while to a lesser extent. It's about controlling the narrative and power. Cancel culture is academia infecting society.
A lot of truth to that. A lot of truth to that.
Couldn't agree more. Controlling the narrative and yeah, I think it's huge. Thank you for popping in. No problem. No problem. Hey, Drunk 3PO will be joining Star Wars charity stream from St. Jude's. Watching you guys together is pure gold. He hasn't. I haven't talked to him about it. I haven't talked to him about it, so I don't know. Like, if he sends me an invite, I think I'm gonna be here. I'm getting ready to leave tomorrow morning to head to Boston. I'll be back around the 10th of October, and I think his is on the 15th. So if he might already have a nice lineup. I'm not sure.
Nice
but
panel. Yeah.
Yeah. If not, it's all good. I'm supported. I love what he's doing. It's a friend of mine. I hope he raises $200,000.
A great cause too.
Yeah. I hope he does $200,000. You're in Vegas. Were you shocked when what happened with Gina over Twitter?
You know,
she got let go?
I was a huge fan.
Town, you know.
Yeah, I was a huge fan. As many know, I'm a big fan of the fight game. I'm a big fan of training and being more capable. So I enjoy all that stuff. So I was very aware of who Gina was. I was a fan of The Mandalorian. I know she had Vegas roots, and we actually share quite a few mutual friends. Oddly enough, we just hadn't crossed paths, and I truthfully enjoyed. Like, I thought doing a streaming show was great for her. I thought it was a phenomenal thing, and I thought she played that role as her. She is Cara Dune. She's irreplaceable in that role, and she did a phenomenal job with it. I was very shocked that she got canceled at the extent she got canceled, but I think what happened, in my theory, and I've watched all you guys' stuff, everybody in this chat room, I've watched every channel's take on it. I think what happened was a snowball began, and I think a lot of people internally did not like her and did not maybe feel her genuineness. And I think, there's a lot of people out there that don't like the Tom Brady smugness. They don't like the, gee willikers. And she had a really easy way of basically saying, a great way of saying fuck you in a roundabout way. And I think that irked them a little bit. And I think it slowly ate at them. In the moment they had a chance to cut her throat, they did. And it's unfortunate. Yes, I was very surprised. I thought she was a star. I thought she was a shining spot. And I thought if they were going to eat shit on anyone, meaning the woke left bananas side of Disney, because I think Kathleen Kennedy is pure cancer. I think she's absolutely cancerous. I think she's been rich for a very long time. I think she's disconnected. I think she hangs around at the Ivy in LA with her woke friends. She has no fucking clue what goes on at the ground level, and she has no clue what actual fandom is represented. And I was very surprised she went to that extreme instead of championing a strong woman in a great what was going to become a great story arc.
Well, you know what was funny? To prove your point about Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, I think she's a puke.
The next day, she released a video about the Oscars. About
the Oscars, yeah.
We here at Lucasfilm empower strong women, and we're gonna push strong women, fade in, all this stuff. The next day, after they fired her, the next day, it was such a bad take that the Academy Award removed I think they took the comment sections out. They took all that stuff out.
They started testing a new fake thing that was you couldn't see the comments and the downvotes. Yeah. And first of all, listen, nobody cares about the Oscars. Nobody cares about the VMAs anymore. Those shows are dying. Literally, Conor McGregor has to throw a drink at Machine Gun Kelly to make the VMAs relevant. I was at a fight a couple weeks ago. They're perfectly fine. They're friends. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly goes to every fight. I mean, that is the most bullshit stage thing I've ever fucking seen. But the reason they do stuff like that is to try to drum conversations around the VMAs or the Oscars. I mean, who the fuck wants to celebrate those people? And what person is watching that? Don Lemon? I mean, who is watching that? And that's part of, the we want to sell you this. Why? Because we've done it for 100 years. Tell me another award ceremony that airs on TV that way and portrays these actors as like they're God's gift to the world. Like we're lucky to have them. It's a privilege. It's not a right. And they seem to think it's a right.
And they just laugh. I remember the Emmys. What was it? The Emmys that just happened. None of them were wearing masks. They were all sitting together in California and all this stuff. Mean, Tony for $5. We need to have a Gina Carano J show. She's filming her movie, man. She's in Montana.
I want to see what area in Montana she was in. I asked her.
Yeah.
You can tell me later.
Has anybody in the chat watched an award show? Like now with like social media, like if something really, like you said, if something really odd happens,
then people will
be on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, and that was the most staged thing ever. And this is what I talk about, honoring false gods, guys, paying attention to false shit. If you think for 1 second Conor McGregor has a beef with Machine Gun Kelly, you're on drugs. You're on drugs. Okay. I will tell you that right now. He could care less. Conor McGregor's worth $500 million. He could care less. He's the highest paid athlete. That's just to drum conversation. And that's what they do. They hit you with these indirect kind of things. Like this podcast would be 500 times better if Jay, told me to go we said something prolific. So people attempt to do something prolific instead of reporting it as it happens. If it bleeds, it leads, because there's just not enough excitement around an actual award show because nobody cares. Nobody cares about rich people getting together, having a steak, and telling each other how important they are. It's like a shitty Rotary Club meeting.
That's why they wear crazy clothes, so people will talk about them the next day.
Exactly.
I think Megan Fox wore like a half naked.
And the ratings are terrible. And Megan Fox hasn't been relevant. The ratings are terrible. The ratings are way, way down. So the only way they can drum it up is if they drum up support on social media. I mean, that's part of it. But there's a disconnection. There's a huge disconnection.
Real quick, Amy says, I know the hat is the hat is not available right now. We outsold the company, and the shirts and the hats will be back in stock October 4th.
Jeez.
So once October 4th, October 5th hits, we will every avenue that I have, we're gonna blast it out there so you have the information before they're gone next time.
And you guys gotta get in there and buy, support.
Yeah, because they go quick. Like these hats were supposed to be for sale for 2 weeks. They were on sale for 24 hours, and they took them down because we outsold everything that they had. We outsold them all, man. Like not even close.
I can't even get a hat. That's how outsold they are.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't ready for us. They're ready now. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Abu Nas, my brother. I'm gonna meet in New York here real soon for 10. Right. Passing by to say hello to my brother. Salute to your great guest, John Bartolo, as you both drop truth bombs all over the place. I'll catch the playback when I get home. Much love. Dark Council for Life. That's right. I'm on a podcast show every Tuesday night around 9 with some of the most amazing Black content creators. I stick out like a sore thumb, but they're my friends. Talking about all the craziness in the world, in pop culture and everything else too. So it's absolutely.
You're synthesizing again. You sound like
that's crazy.
I know. No, Callista asked a good question. You mentioned AOC wearing the dress. AOC went to Boston University, as did I at one point. After I went to University of Massachusetts, I understand. I understand AOC. I know that sounds crazy. I understand what she is. She's a product of that education, and she's a product of being a working class Latina, and she's someone that wants to build a message. You don't put a dress on like that unless you're trying to get headlines. She understands that she's trying to become famous. There's no money in being a member of Congress unless you steal. So everybody that you see that has like millions of dollars, that's been in government their whole life, like Uncle Joe, the big guy, all these different people, it's because they're doing back alley deals to sell influence. AOC is going to do it through fame. She's going to probably get some $5 or $10 million ridiculous book deal because she grabs so many different headlines. It doesn't matter what's trending. She's going to run with it. The whole Green New Deal was ridiculous. Her whole approach to how she handles herself in Congress is ridiculous. If you go back and look at any line of questioning she's ever spearheaded to any potentially nominated official or elected official or public space person, she has no idea what she's talking about. She's done zero research into the matter, and she doesn't know exactly what she's talking about when she gets into these topics. And then she'll wear a shirt to the Met Gala that says tax the rich. Okay, go over to all your rich donors and actually put that in play, and let's see how long you last as an elected official.
Thought it was funny, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
she had the gall to like wear that to where she was at. I mean, I was just kind of like, really? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the people that pay attention to her, go watch my video instead. Go watch one of my episodes instead for 30 minutes. Go watch one of Jay's episodes for 30 minutes. Go leave a review on a podcast. Don't pay any attention to her. All she's trying to do is build a fame snowball to take herself to the next level, whatever that is, a book deal, presidential run, whatever.
So let me ask you this question. If hopefully my mic doesn't mess up, but
no, you're good.
The gun culture is shunned from Hollywood, from pop culture a lot.
Oh, it's comical,
But yet, in almost all the movies, they use big booms.
Yes.
Big guns. They show them off. They do everything, click, clack, make it cool looking. I mean, everything. But then when it comes to the culture, it's bad.
Well, you know, and that's one of the reasons.
Where is that coming from? Like,
well, I think one of the reasons Keanu has become such a beacon of support from the firearms industry, and people really enjoyed the John Wick movies, and that goes part and parcel. Just the idea that he actually trains for that. He's actually at the range. He's actually doing jiu-jitsu and judo. He's actually a belted jiu-jitsu practitioner as well. So he's a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to martial arts and being more capable. So he's honing his tradecraft. I think in the past there are guys that have been supporters of the 2A within Hollywood. I think that's since faded. You have total assholes like Liam Neeson that literally make their living off of firearms in movies, but then want to talk poorly about them, or that people shouldn't own them or whatever, and they all make their living. One of the reasons firearms are so readily available in movies is they add automatic drama and tension. The minute you introduce a gun to the screen, it automatically adds tension and drama. What's that person going to do with it? So I don't see the action genre dying anytime soon. It's too big of a genre, but I do see that conflict I talked about. People don't want to support the blue line. People don't want to support police and military. People don't want to support civilians owning firearms, yet that's what everybody wants to go see. So where that collision happens, Jay, is part of the problem. Where that collision happens, at the end of the day, people do what? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to ban them and then we're going to make movies about them? I mean, what are we going to make movies about?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter.
I mean, hugs and kisses.
I almost can't even think of a movie that didn't involve
some level of violence.
Firearm.
Or some level of someone exercising some masculinity. You can go back and watch some of the greatest movies that ever introduced. Go watch the movie Love Story. The lead character plays hockey in the damn movie, and he gets a penalty for getting into a fight. What are we going to do? Ban the movie Love Story for toxic masculinity? Oh, we can't show that anymore. There's hockey in it, and he actually gets in a fight in the movie. It's completely ridiculous what it's become. I mean, at this point, they would like everything to be fantasy and fiction, I assume.
I mean, even take my favorite, Star Wars. They had guns. They had guns that we all wanted to play with, and it's just like it's absolutely insane. Real quick, Elmo Prime has renewed his membership. Y'all know what that means. If you're new here, you get a little Rose Tico dance. Thank you so much. And Vark of Ard. What a name. What a name. Great stream, guys. It's all about bubbles. The larger your bubble, the more you believe in the individual. It breaks my heart a few can't be helped. Bubbles are big, man. Like that.
Yeah.
I think everyone in that Hollywood mindset is like, and they just keep it. I just don't get it. They just keep showing their true colors. Like during the lockdowns, all the celebrities were like, hey, stay in your house. And they all got basketball courts and, Olympic-sized swimming pools and home theater systems. And like I remember Arnold had like a zoo and like acres of land he could run and go do stuff. And he's like, guys, stay in your house. While like common folk, like me, we all huddled together, in our 2-1s. And it's like I ain't got no basketball court to go play. You know what I mean? Like I can't stay in my house. If I lived in your house, I'd probably never leave. Arnold, I'd probably never leave over there. But over here, we don't have all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they just kept pushing that over and over, and they're just like, you guys can do it. Now we're at this point where celebrities are coming out saying like we need to split up the United States. You hear that one? Like that's going around. Like they're just saying, we should probably just have 2 Americas at this point, because I can't stand people like John. Like basically they're saying we don't like what this guy stands for. We don't like it. So maybe we should just split.
Yeah. There's been a lot of different interesting conversations about that. I know in the Northwest, there was a portion of Oregon and Washington, and they were talking about that. And, I think you see the line drawn, I would say a little bit darker or a little bit sharper with a Sharpie there in terms of where everybody is. And I do think we are essentially a country divided in two. And, it's going to be interesting how that plays out. I think we have to find the middle. Depending on what happens and who runs, and I think we know where my support's been in the past and candidates I've worked with and understand. I think there's some interesting people out there having interesting conversations. People like Tulsi Gabbard, she might be a Democrat, but she's having some interesting conversations. And people like Bill Maher, and I'm looking to the left guys for a specific reason, because I think that some of them will come to senses and say, whoa, we got to have a middle here. Because if we all agree that we're on the sensible side of the aisle, at what point who's going to be the olive branch? right? Like, where's the olive branch? Is it somewhere between Bill Maher and the entertainment space? Because I promise you guys this, if cancel culture is everybody's worst enemy, then it's everybody's worst enemy. It can come for anyone. It came for that moron in New York, Cuomo. I mean, imagine sitting there and saying, "I'm Italian, that's why I did what I did." It makes no sense. So I think that cancel culture might be the thing that sets us free too, because they're going to get so scared on the left side that people are going to come for them with like pitchforks and tiki torches, that they're going to acquiesce and understand that we can't take it to that level.
You said something to me that has resonated so deep, was Zuckerberg holding the American flag that day.
Mm-hmm.
When he was like trying to like do the jet ski and hold the American flag.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, what is he doing? And he's like, he's getting ready in case certain people are voted into office.
I said that to you.
That's
Yeah,
going to clamp down on social media.
They know it's coming. So all the social media heroes, Zuckerberg and Jack over at Twitter and all these guys, they know that it's going to be a massive gouging. This was one of the only presidents in history that won while down ballot he lost everything. His entire party lost everything. And that's going to continue to trend. I think when the House of Representatives comes back to the right and the Senate does continue to push into the right, which I think it will, you have a handful of governors, really interesting, compelling governors races coming. I think you're going to see all those guys start to chill out a little bit, because it's not going to be high time if they put in publishing laws. And if they put those in and they start subjecting some of those platforms to litigation, you're going to see them change their tune real quick when stock prices start to fall. But you have to hold those people accountable.
Well, my thing is, our governor in Florida passed a law that I'm allowed to sue social media platforms if I feel like I'm being censored.
Yep.
It's very difficult. Everyone knows my Twitter got kicked.
But it's a start.
And I got a lot. I actually had a lawyer send me an email like, you ready? You're in Florida, right? You ready? You ready to go, man? You want to sue? I was like,
good.
I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, because maybe they had because I was playing music. I was playing music, and I guess you're not allowed to do that on Twitter and all that stuff, while millions of other people are playing music, and it was like 5-10 seconds.
And you know how it goes, Jay. Someone will have a big case at some point.
Eventually, you'll censor someone. You'll censor the wrong person.
Yeah,
and
it'll be precedent. And it's opening the door to maybe Trump doing it. Trump is a Florida resident.
That is true. I didn't even think about that. That's true.
Trump is a Florida resident.
Steve says, I'll get my echo down. I was just talking to a friend today, and he thinks we need to go to violence to fix things. I pray that we don't have to, but I'm worried it might. Violence never solves anything.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to have to turn violent. I think if more people step up and actually listen, you can hate the person, whomever it is that you support, and there's a lot of great people to support. If you don't support 3PO, myself, certain people that are extending the message, you can find people that you support. I think until you exhaust all means, meaning you've shared everything you can share, you've pushed everything, you've done a super chat, you've done this, you've done that, until you can crack into those areas and really push, and you've supported the people to the max that you can support, I don't think violence is the answer. I think at some point might come down to slamming the door on someone that comes by and says, "I'm here to register your firearms," or "I'm here to." I think what's going to happen first is you're going to see an ammo tax, and I think when you see an ammo tax, see the left tries to go after the components on a firearm. They try to go after components. They try to ban 30-round magazines. They try to ban this and ban that. I think once they tax the ammo, that's going to be the issue that starts it all. 556 or 762, 556 always, no void.
Thanks for answering that super chat. Again, I think we're seeing it swing back a little bit. I think it went way up high, especially in 2020. of the crazies. And now that a lot of things are being, I guess, exposed might be the right word, or being brought to light.
Yeah.
Of people like, look, there's a Twitter out there called Libs of TikTok, and they just post like people saying, oh, like there's a new sexuality, there's new this, like we're gonna, yeah. So there's people fighting right now on Twitter because they want Carnage and Venom to be gay.
Oh wow.
And like, yeah, in the Spider-Man universe. And it's like, and if you don't like that, then you're
You're in trouble.
Yeah, like you're a horrible person. And it's like, huh? Like what? And it gets to the point where people are like, fine, you can have it. Like, we're gonna do our own thing. And I think that is where we are out. I think where we're at. Gina hit it on the head. The rebellion is all about, you know what? Let them keep their trash. Let them keep their movies. I know they have characters that we love. I know they had stuff that we love, but they're not the same characters anymore. What they did to my man Luke Skywalker, he ain't the same Luke Skywalker that I'm in, that I grew up with. That is who was the hero, the nobody. They changed him. They're changing all these characters for whatever they want to push, and giving us characters that were like, for me, some people like the new one, fine, but that are just like, yeah, that ain't it for me. That ain't it for me. And so now the whole rebellion thing is make your own stuff, make your own books, make your own comics, make your own films, put stuff together. And I think we're at this interesting point where certain people are starting to take that jump. We got my good friend Young Ripa, who's like so disgusted with the comic book industry. He's like, I'm making my own universe. He's like, but it's got to be good enough to compete with Marvel and DC. Like, I'm not just throwing out anything. Like, I have got to be good enough to compete. Yeah, people like Gina who got a chance to do what she wanted to do with Daily Wire. I want to make my own film. I want to read my own script. I want to direct. I want to put all this stuff together. And I'm going to do the very best that I can do with the money that I have that's been given to me. And it's us like pushing, promoting, talking. My good friend Fatal J, who is in the chat, he developed his own comic book. He loves ninjas. He loves things like that. Putting it together. I'm writing my own verse, my own universe. I've got my own book stories that were supposed to come out this year, but Young Rip actually gave me a lot of advice. He's like, you just don't want to put it out. Like, you want it to compete with what's out there. You need it to compete with what's out there. Podcasts, live streams, things like that are becoming extremely popular, and the mainstream news media hates it. Like, that's why they constantly, people hate YouTubers. They hate them.
Well, you saw
they hate them.
You saw the networks, Jay, double down on YouTube and streaming. Everybody moved to streaming, and they were in such a rush to get there. You saw so much M&A activity, mergers and acquisitions at level. And you saw literally Peacock freaking out, absorbing WWE. You saw Disney Plus getting a hold of the Marvel universe. You saw everybody scrambling to build because they fought it for so long. They said the movie industry will be fine. That's where we'll make our bones. The movie industry is going to represent a fraction of what streaming is now, even now, at this point. And I think what we're seeing is intersection of good and evil somewhere around what I call Karen culture. Okay, we have this Karen culture that's popped up, and everybody, when you don't agree, they double down, and that's where the Karen culture comes in. If you turn around and say to somebody on the left, hey, I don't agree with that, I think this, you see them double down on it, want to burn your car, want to burn your house down, and want to see you fired. Nobody remembers the reason why. And it's like almost like everybody needs to go into a therapy session with their spouse or their significant other and hug it out and just be like, listen, it is okay in the United States of America for me to disagree with your point and offer a healthy counterpoint. And that's where you have to draw the line. And that's where the conversation always should be. But I think because of social media, because of cell phones, because of the last 30 years and the dependency on that, I only talk on the phone. Jay knows this. I hate texting.
Yeah.
If you text me more than 3 times, I'm picking up.
He calls. Yeah.
I'll call because I'm not putting that much down on a text. And if I talk to a decent amount of high profile people, I'm not texting with them. I have those conversations and those conversations stay there, but I'm adult enough to be able to have the conversation. If you disagree with me, come on down and tell me your rationale. When I disagree with you, you're going to try to burn me, burn my house down. I don't know. And that's kind of where you see this intersection of good and evil. It's somewhere along the lines of Karen culture.
Well, that's the thing. It's getting to that point of like Novo said, we are the counter. Am I echoing again?
You're echoing again. No, you're 100% right. It's it has to be okay to have a counterpoint. And I think, to some mention doing it turning violent or potentially leading into that. I think what you have to do, and the right has its problems, guys. I'm going to be straight with all of you in here. The right has its problems. And the problems with the right are not necessarily that we didn't invest in social media the way that we should or blah, blah, blah. The right is a giant dick measuring contest. I don't know where that started and I don't know why that is. But you always see it on the right. There's a less willingness to be supportive. There's a less willingness to support and donate to a chat or a Patreon. There's a less willingness to say, this guy's a good guy and I want to help him. And the reason for that, I think, is on the right, there's such a deep, steeped history of I did this, or like even in the gun industry, I killed 5 people, so that makes me more legit. That makes me more of a gun owner than you. There's a weird pecking order on the right that for whatever reason, I don't know why it exists. I don't know why it's there. I'm not a psychologist, but I think the right makes a mistake sometimes of not promoting everybody's thoughts. You have to be a certain type of person to fit a mold on the right. And if you don't fit that mold, we're like, oh, we're going to put him over here. There's a lot of gatekeepers on the right. Part of the issue. And there's a lot of ego.
It's a mess. That's all it is. It's
uniting the plans. It's like Braveheart. It's like we're all in a meeting and we're like, you're going to honor these papers. You're going to honor this and you're going to honor that. There's a lot of that goes on, Jay. I've been in these rooms. I've seen these conversations. I mean, I can promise you right now, for example, there will be a conversation at some point between DeSantis and Trump as to whether or not he runs and who's going to run and who's going to take the mantle and who's going to support who and who's going to rat fuck the next person. I think DeSantis should do his term in Florida. I think he's doing freaking great things there. I think Senior should run again. I think he's the best person probably for the party going forward to try to unite it. And it would be such a great story if he was back. It would be a very interesting one. But I think that, on the right, there's too much ego.
Yeah. That's the thing. I have to run. I really appreciate you, Jay, in this community. People, if you haven't checked out John's show, do it. It's also fantastic. Jay, I hope you do more of these. Hopefully on the road with your truck. Much love, Elmo Prime. Amazing supporter of this channel. Yeah, my dream is to get a big, a 4-door truck. And I want to just drive through America and do like a podcast and record national parks and go to different things and like do it for 6 months. Just drive, I want to go up the east, then down and up and down, back and forth. And that's what I want.
Amen.
That's how I talk, Steph. Yeah, probably. I just want to make sure my mic is working. Been having issues with it. So, but yeah, that's my dream. Like, it's not a big dream, but it's my dream.
I think that's everybody's dream. I think
I want to see America. Some people like being home. Some people are homebodies, and that's cool. Some people
that's cool, but it's not okay. You need to get outside, guys. Get some vitamin D. Go walk around. I think everybody needs to get outside a little bit.
I just would love to promote people that aren't as famous that are doing really cool things. I think that's what like all this movement is pushing. I see people like this person right here. She's got an Etsy store where she's going to be selling things and stuff like, and that everyone should have something like that. I think everyone should be. And then I saw Matt Vader in here. He's part of the podcast. He's doing his podcast thing. I just see like people in my chat that I know a little bit better than others, and how they have this passion inside of them, and they just need a little more promotion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I would love to do that for them. I would love to give them a little, like a little kick in the pants. I don't know, push, whatever you want to say. It's like, that's the rebellion. That's pushing against the system. That's highlighting people that have amazing talents. Like this person here, her name is Tabitha. She painted this Cara Dune. A tremendous artist, but she needs more eyes on. You know what I mean? Sure. Like she would need more eyes on her, and that's what the rebellion. That's what pushing back against going to Walmart and buying a shirt. I'd rather support this person than go support a corporate, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, to me, it's like let me support this person who has a dream and a goal that wants to be a painter. You know. Then going to some corporation that's buying stuff from China and just manufacturing it and selling it and saying, here you go get it. That's just me. And if I could put that together in like a show and just drive around in my truck and stop over here and be like, look at this awesome thing here and look at this awesome thing here, and this person's trying to do a fan film and this person's writing a sci-fi adventure, and why did you do this and what's your motivation? I think that's just we're at this beginning phase of people saying, I would rather support them than what Hollywood's pushing out. I'd rather support them than what Disney's pushing out. I'd rather support them than this. Well, and I know there's thousands of people that would support them if they knew that they existed.
Well, I think Jay, what has to happen is you have to explain to your audience, and your audience needs to understand this, is the platforms that we're building, you included, are platforms that are meant to create equality of opportunity for the people that have the same thought process of you. And the problem is, it's very okay for the left to create equality of opportunity, and even in some instances, equality of outcome. But on the right, when we attempt to build a platform that creates equality of opportunity, you brought up a podcast. We talked about, I think it was the H2 or whatever they are. I don't even know who they are. That podcast, I think that the left is very okay with a podcast like that existing and creating an equality of opportunity for people that go on that to talk about left issues or whatever is going on or whatever social justice thing they're playing.
Everyone, the H3 podcast.
Yeah, H3, whatever. I don't even know who they are. Whoever they are. And the YouTube's fine with that. All the governing bodies are fine with that. But then when Jay Drunk 3PO tries to create the same platform built on equality of opportunity, just like you're talking about, to go out there and enhance the voice of some people, they don't want to hear that because your end message doesn't agree with theirs.
No, and I'm taking money out of their pocket.
Yeah, well, that's what it boils down to, too, is the fighting for the wallets. And that's why I tell everybody in here, eventually, at some point on the right, we have to unite the clans. And that was part of the reason why I reached out to you guys. That was part of the reason why I've reached out to other like-minded individuals. And it's not about right or left. It's about just having the right mindset to open the conversation, to have a dialogue, to be open and honest about saying, I support this and be okay with it. But I think people don't understand your time, effort, and energy. Like people in here that are commenting right now on they saw AOC's this, they saw that. They need to go into some of these YouTube channels of guys like yourself, guys like Jeremy, guys like me, and they need to go and support those shows. Tap an extra thumbs up. Go to old episodes, share them. Go find clips. Put your energy into that and stop focusing on what AOC wears to the Met Gala.
Couldn't agree more. Blood Goat for 5. Thank you for the super chat. SJW is trying to make characters like Venom gay. All they are really saying is they don't believe the gay community is created enough to make their own. Now, on that point, and I don't want to stay too much on that topic because I'd like where we were going before. But yeah, this is the Twitter conversation with people. This is my friend Masters of the TDS. They were talking about okay, they're gonna put Venom in a gay relationship. This guy shows up out of nowhere. He's like, if it was She-Venom and Eddie, you'd eat that S right up. You are a homophobic piece of crap that will be stuck in the past while society evolves toward the future. I mean, they don't want conversation. They want to name call you. They want to throw mud in your face.
Yeah.
They want to like shut you up. They want to just tell you you're wrong. How dare you even question? How dare? So what? Venom is going to be gay? How dare you even question it? What's wrong with you? You know, and it's like that's the problem. You read this Twitter feed, it's just people like they're like, what? Like why would you why would you do that? You know, to the characters and stuff like that. But again, this is where we are. People don't want to talk. People don't want to explain. And then what that does is when you come at people saying, oh, you don't want Venom to be gay? Well, then you're a phobe, this phobe, that phobe, that phobe. And now you've built an even bigger wall because you'll never be able to talk because you're so angry that people don't agree with you. And you just keep...
You know
what I'm saying? Like,
I do. Has your audience ever considered that the reason Hollywood and the entertainment industry continues to pump sequels, prequels, and reruns down your throat is because they're trying to consume you with those topics and those things to talk about, as opposed to talking about actual relevant things and actually doing things like supporting the shows and the shares and everything else? I mean, you guys, there's 201 people in here. I promise you, if you all went to Jay's page or you went to my page, I know Steph just shared it, and actually took the time to tap thumbs up on 10 videos, and you would make a huge difference. That is a movement. And the reason that Hollywood and entertainment industry want to consume you with sequels, prequels, and reruns is because they know you'll talk about them. They know you'll pick them apart. They know you'll make them the centerpiece of the conversation, and they'll kind of lull you into submission over time. You need to step up. You need to comment. You need to get into some of these chats. You need to start to begin to focus on everything else and not obsess over those things.
Exactly. This is why this channel is like, I love talking pop culture and movies and reviews and watching stuff, but I gotta be honest, I'm like, I don't want to watch anything anymore.
No, you should, like you said it best earlier, Jay. You unsubscribed from Disney Plus. Your friend was no longer supported by that platform. You walked away and you said, I'm done. This person did something to my family.
Yeah.
And I think if everybody took that approach, if everybody in this chat understood, stop focusing on what the other side is doing and start spending that extra 10 minutes a day focusing on what you can do. Hey, Jay, love the message today. Share it in your Instagram. Anybody who tags me and shares something into their IG or Twitter, I will absolutely do everything in my power to retweet it, to enhance your message to whatever following I have, wherever it is, and whenever you share it. But I'm 100% obsessed with going forward and doing and avoiding the rest. You know, if Marvel wants to make all its characters as gay as could be, transsexual, homophobic, whatever, and that's what they want to do to their brand, I can go, click, thanks, don't want to participate anymore. I'm going to move on. If that's the route they think is best for them, then hey, they can have it all.
That's what I know. And it's just like when it came to Star Wars, it was like, you know, Star Wars is just so big in my personal life. And just to kind of see it, I'm at the point now where it's like you got to look at it with a different lens.
Sitting around and talking about it, Jay, and I know your mic's acting up. Sitting around and talking about it and BSing about it is exactly what they want you to do. That's exactly what they want you to participate in, because that dialogue's only going to get more people talking about it because they're recycling the same old garbage. They'll end up, you know, I'm a huge fan of Venom. If anyone can see, I have Venom comics in here. I have the first appearance of Venom and Spider-Man, and then I have Secret Wars 8. I own both of the comics, and I own them, and I think 8s are better grades. But you know, I'm a huge fan of the Venom story and the arc. They've already fucked it up in the first one. They told the story the wrong way. Why? Because they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man at the time, so they already fucked it up. The original origin story is already toast. I mean, we love Tom Hardy, but the reality is, I mean, as good as they make this one, the origin story is still garbage.
Yeah, it's Secret Wars. Spider-Man had the costume. It was given to him by the Beyonder, wasn't it?
Yeah. So why? No, they found it with the Fantastic.
Found it. That's right. That's
So-
right. That's right. Beyonder was in Secret Wars 2. That's right.
So I know the story really, really well, and anybody who wants to quiz me on it. The problem is we accepted that. You see, it's like an acquiescing. You know, we've accepted, oh, they can just change the origin story. Just let it go. You know, just let it go.
That's why as a huge Marvel fan, as the comics, like when I saw that Thanos was the big bad, I was like, you watch, and I'm like, they actually made MCU movie Thanos 100 times cooler than comic book Thanos.
Sure.
And personally, I was kind of like, well, that's cool.
Oh.
Comic book Thanos is kind of a sissy.
And if
He
you
was
remember,
trying to impress a woman, you know,
And
he's
if you
totally
remember-
different.
if you remember, Jay, they made Thanos in the comic book was like a spoiled brat. You know, he's like
Yeah,
a son
yeah.
of gods. He was like a spoiled brat. And, you know, again, let's chalk it up as that was a very campy time in comic books. I think that at one point there was even a Thanos copter. So there was that was a very campy time in comic books. So we kind of can put that to the side. Everybody's had a campy moment, but they did the same thing with Bane in the DC universe. Bane wasn't exactly this world beater in the comics, and he was actually a running joke in the original Batman series. I believe he was in the one with Val Kilmer and Uma Thurman at the time. I recall, right? It was Val Kilmer, Uma Thurman, that one. And you know, look, that wasn't exactly a tour de force performance.
No.
You know, Tom Hardy came in, you know, reinvigorated the character, made it more like in tune with what I think the essence of the character was. But in the comic, it still was a little bit campy.
I agree. That's why. And because it's funny now when I see people are like Thanos versus so and so, I'm like, well, is it movie Thanos or comic book Thanos? Comic book Thanos just killed people to impress Lady Death. He didn't care about balance or any. And I'm like watching the movies, like, dang man, that's nothing like Thanos. Like nothing.
And that's an example of them doing a good job re-envisioning the character. Just like one of the reasons the Dark Knight trilogy worked so well was because they took the detective comics, they made him more of a detective, and they took that story, that whole arc, and really went deeper than I think Christopher Nolan even could have possibly imagined. And he just had such a strong grasp of the character.
Brian, this is your second $20 super chat asking the same question. And I want you to know I appreciate the super chat, but I have not seen Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
So I cannot
it's George Clooney in the band. Yeah, I stand correct. Thank you, Callista. Appreciate it.
I can't answer that question. But since you've already spent $40, maybe I'll get that one episode just to give you an answer. Is my mic still messing up?
Yeah, your mic's still a little choppy.
I don't know what's wrong. Did I drop it? Should I just smack it really hard?
I don't know. Maybe unplug it and plug it back in. It's definitely echoing, and I think it's the mic that's in the
test.
So this is an interesting question. While you're toying with that, I actually want to answer this guy. 3 Blood Goat 3. I disagree letting it go. Isn't the answer? I know people hate to hear this, but the fight needs to be bigger. The left has been fighting this whole time while the majority of the right sits on their rump. I think I'm reading your question right, and I agree with the back end of what you're saying. But I also think on our side, I don't know what you mean by fight being bigger. I think we need to enhance our voice, and I think we need to throw a bigger net. If I'm answering that correctly.
He was talking about like Venom. You know, they want to change Venom, and you know, like what else? Basically, what we both were saying is just like they own it now.
Yeah.
What can you do? They own it. They don't want to sell it. I need a new mic.
Sony has been searching. I will say this, guys. Sony has been searching for a long time for a way to cash in on the whole push for character-based movies, like comic character-based movies. Sony has tried its run at Spider-Man for a long time. Obviously, they butchered it towards the end and made it look like a shell of what it could have been. Not that I think Tobey Maguire was a terrible Spider-Man. I think he had his place. I think the movies just got goofy, but you also have to look at the time when those movies came out. I think Marvel, the MCU, did a much better job with the property and actually what it was meant to be. I don't like the direction they're going in now with the souped up suits, and now basically Spider-Man has a suit that's like an Iron Man suit. Now eventually everybody's going to be an Iron Man, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Spider-Man should be what he is, kind of like an ancillary player in the Avengers, and somebody that kind of weaves in. I think the Venom property could have done really well in Sony, because I think Sony can do some edgier things, but I don't like how they got away from the origin story and how they kind of have now kind of begun to deviate from the source material and develop this whole weird Eddie Brock own sub story. It's almost like it doesn't mirror the comic.
We've been going almost 2 hours. How do I sound? Still bad?
Perfect now.
All right, perfect. I think this is a good question to kind of get heading towards the wrap-up time. But X-Wing for 5, as a small creator, what's the best route to build your audience without getting absolutely smashed just for being right-leaning and fighting back? Now, I'm going to answer this first.
It's a good one.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm not as hard. I hate politics. I don't really have I don't know. I just hate politics. I don't come off as abrasive as my friends Ryan and Jeremy, but I have learned this. No matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you say. People will find something to criticize. So at least say something that's true to yourself. People will slam you for. I just posted a comment on Twitter where someone was making fun of my eyes. They hate the way my eyes look. They said I look worse than a frog. I mean, they just like it's like it is what it is. I'm just saying, it's like, be true to yourself. Build your platform on what. Don't try to be like, well, if I say it this way, then somebody, then maybe it'll be more of a middle ground and it won't upset people. It doesn't matter. People will be upset no matter what you say, no matter what you do. They will always be upset. So be true to yourself. Be true to yourself and who you are. You have any thoughts on your platform and just...
Yeah, I think to everybody out there, I think we'd all like to see everybody have podcasts and everybody have platforms. To everybody out there that doesn't want to participate in that, I can completely use your energy to support, brands you love and people you love and messages you love. I would say if you're going to start a platform and you want to not get slammed, be honest, truthful, and be straight up about your thoughts. But I always say this to everybody, and it's easier to relate it to sports. If you're going to have a debate on sports with somebody, I always start it with this, and I would tell your whole audiences, if they wanted to debate me on sports or comic books or anything else, listen, we can have the debate, but we can only present facts. So let me say that again. We can have the debate, but we can only present facts. So when you start out, you can have your opinions and you can have facts. The facts support the opinions. If people feel a certain way about the jab or this or that or whatever it is, present your facts, which become your truth as to why you see it that way. And I think that's the best way to toe the line. I feel a certain way about firearms. I believe in the Second Amendment. Why? Because the second prevents an obstruction to the first, or a shrinking of the First Amendment. We have to have freedom of speech, and we have to have the Second Amendment. And to the people that spoke out about having the right to bear arms being a defense mechanism for the country, it absolutely is as well. So I think you have to support that with facts. History has shown us that. Somebody, shared the quote. I think that's really important. So I would say, if you're going to have opinions, be able to form your truth and support them with supporting detail and supporting facts.
Monopolizer for 5 for the truck fund to deliver free ice cream to kids in Vegas and podcast with the great John Bartolo. I might be in Vegas before the end of the year. You never know. I might be in Vegas for the end of the year. Thoughts on Tobey Maguire entering the Star Wars universe and what impact that will have on the Star Trek universe? What else do you think of Krillin becoming a Sith Lord? Boy, Brian, you asking. Spider-Man should not be in Star Wars. Star Wars should not be in Star Trek. None of these worlds should ever cross, ever, in my opinion. But if they're going to trash everything, why not go out with the biggest bang possible?
Let it burn. Let it burn. Maybe they'll actually get creative and build something new.
Krillin. From Dragon Ball Z, Krillin becoming a Sith Lord.
Tobey Maguire is a great actor, though. He is.
I always want people to like my guests. Sorry, people are like, Jay, let the guest answer for. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I do little things different here.
Yeah. It's Jay's show.
Somebody wants to somebody's just getting started. Maybe they want to do a podcast, maybe they want to write a book, maybe they want to there's something inside them. They want to be a photographer, maybe they want to travel. What? How do I get started? What should I do?
You're asking me, or you?
Yeah, I'm asking you. What advice would you give someone?
I would say this to everybody in your audience: whatever the creative path you decide to go on, and we all have a creative muscle in our body. I can't operate a camera, and I sure as hell can barely operate technology, but I enjoy the medium of having a conversation. Whatever path you choose to use that creative muscle, do your best to find a subject matter expert or somebody who's really good at it in your surrounding area that's willing to sit down with you and spend time. I spent some time today with some guys, great podcast, and that are trying to figure it out, and they're just trying to figure it out. So I always say this: if you're at base level, if you're at the bottom of whatever it is, whether photography, trap, whatever it is, find someone that's one step above and study them and see what they do, see what they've had success with, but always be prepared to evolve. And I think everything is an evolution. Be prepared to evolve a couple times, and don't be afraid to reach out and grab arms with another group or somebody else. And don't be afraid to reach out to the drunk 3POs and everything else. All of your audience has literally witnessed us collide in our two worlds and us have a conversation, and people in my world that were not exposed to your world are now exposed to it, and people in your world are now exposed to mine. And if you enjoy that message and you enjoy and you see the stuff that we're doing, support it. If you want to put your own message out there and you're trying to figure out where to start, reach out to someone. Yes, folks like Jay, myself, we have a lot going on. We do the best to answer our messages, our DMs, or that, whatever it is that comes in. But find somebody local that maybe has a show or maybe has a camera, and start to learn from them, and then just keep doing it. Do not stop. Jay will tell you this. I will tell you this. It is not going to happen overnight. It is not going to happen in a year. It is probably not going to happen in 2. Somewhere around year 3, like any other business, you're going to know what you have. Everybody says the first 3 years in a business, you what? Lose money. It's very hard to, by year 3, to really, by year 1, to have a picture of what you're doing. You have to stick with it.
Yeah. 3 years on your podcast, 3 years on my YouTube channel. Look at us.
Yeah. Boom. Collision. That's what it's going to take, guys. Persistency. You have to fear losing more than you love winning.
Brian, again, I like toast.
I love toast.
I love toast too.
With jelly or butter?
I could do it all, man. Cream cheese. This is Krista. This is our friend Krista when she has toast. So there's Orange more for 5. Crossover should stay in comics. Batman and the Turtles was great. Just saying. Thank you, brother. Hey, I got a package coming to you, Ords. By the end of the month. Get ready. But yeah.
Yes, somebody said this down below, and I know you're going to try to wrap, but about resetting the clock to 2019. I think that's a funny one. A part of me thinks like we're in the Matrix or something. We're gonna all go to bed and we're gonna wake up and it's gonna be like 2010, and Jay and I will be at spring break. It's just, I feel like we're gonna snap out of it at some point, and it's gonna be like an elastic that resets. I love that theory.
Brian, you've been very generous. Why don't you just give 100, Brian, since you've been throwing 20s with some interesting questions all night?
You got to roll the reel again. He loves toast.
Just Just throw it all, man. Just do it in one big shot, you know.
She's a trip. She's a trip. She had to take 17 buses and a horsing carriage to get here. It was hilarious.
I know. JT says I like bagels. I like toast.
Oh, it's not like a good bagel. You can't get it. You can't get them.
Toasted?
East Coast is the best. Yeah, it's got to be toasted.
Let's see. I think we've caught up on everything.
And I want to say a fantastic audience, Jay, while you're doing that.
Amazing
audience. You know, all you guys that are doing the super chats, they're hilarious. And I know much of your audience has come over to my YouTube and done super chats. I mean, Jay knows I'll be the first to kick all that money back in just so guys. I love seeing, you know, you guys in the rebellion gear and supporting that cause. And Jay will tell you, when he was on my show, I handed him a handful of cash. I said, go freaking give it all back. You know, do giveaways. And I know he's going to do a huge round of those and a pile coming up. And I think that's phenomenal. I think what you guys do creating this community is awesome. This one's for Jay. Awesome. One more time.
This guy's amazing, dude. Listen, I know him.
I'm requesting one more time for the real. I think he deserves it.
I think
one more time with the toast.
I think he wants a little Gina this time. I think we're gonna
give him a Gina one.
Give him a little Gina because he shows up and he just starts dropping bombs. I know Brian really well. John messed up. He messed up. He was supposed to lean over. You didn't do it right, man. Do you want a second chance?
Yeah, I want to say, do I lean like that? Wait.
You need a second chance on that?
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're gonna go. You got to go that way.
This way?
No, the other way.
Oh wow, it's hard for me. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. All right. Here's your second chance. You messed up again. Can you not see it?
I can't get it's the other way. You sent me the wrong way. You actually sent me the wrong way. I can't get that far over.
I'll do one better. Here we go. All right. Now you can lean the other way.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
There you go. All right. There you go. One more time. Look at the chats just going.
I gotta get way over. Like, look at this. I got the. I will say this. I'm not a small man. Jay will tell you that.
No, he's
I'm not a small man. I'm about 245 pounds. But Jay can do that lean because he's better than I am. Let's put it that way. He's one of the few people that comes in this studio and dwarfs me. That's rare. That's super rare.
Yeah. I remember you said that. I was like, man, I'm not small, man.
You're not. No. When he was on the couch, it looked like he swallowed the couch.
Dude, my legs are all hanging off.
They're not made for that. You think I have like rum shaker couches in here? Like I'm supposed to have a lounge. This turned into the Geeks and Gamers lounge when everybody was here.
I know, man. It was
so funny.
Was crazy. Wear my rebellion hoodie so much is filled with my man must. I appreciate it, man. Brian says, Jay, can I tell them? Tell them what? What do you want to say? Thank you. Listen, Brian, thank you for all the love and the super chats tonight, man. You've been very, very generous.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else you got to say before I close, but you better do it. The Daily Bugle. Also, I was announcing this to some of my members. Me and John is actually helping me working on getting a Drunk 3PO podcast together. And what it's going to look like is something once I get it better, like, when my mic doesn't crap out, but once we get things together, probably by the end of October, it will launch, be on iTunes and all the stuff like that. And I'm just going to have conversations with people like John, like others. I've done these interviews before on YouTube, and I will continue to do them. And my members who I love and my Patreon who I love so much, they're gonna get like the extra hour because I feel like they have done so much for me personally and helped out that I want to give them something even better. So in my members chat, my YouTube members chat, which is on Discord, they we've been talking about it. I'm saying I'm starting the podcast. You guys are gonna get something because you're a member or you're a Patreon, because I feel like I owe you so much more. But like the first hour will be like for everyone, and then we'll do it on YouTube like this, and everyone can see it and have conversations and stuff, and then it'll be on iTunes and Spotify. And John's helping me put this together, and then the second hour will be continuing the conversation for my amazing members and stuff. Like Brian says, my safe word is pineapple juice.
Mine's banana. The safe word is banana.
I'm not gonna say your safe word because you'll keep giving till I say it. That's
the safe word is banana. That's actually a Family Guy reference. When she unzips his leather mask, he goes, the code word is banana, and then he zips it back up.
I appreciate. I want to say thank you to Snowdub, Jedi Bunny, and a few others who've been dropping links the whole time. I think Steph was dropping links as well.
Yeah, I appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, so like they were dropping links to the channel. If you still want to find John, right in the top of the description is right there is his link. I want to thank CJ for making the thumbnail. But yeah, so like there's some cool things coming. That's why I wanted a truck. I was like telling him, I was like, I just want to get driving and do the podcast and film for Jaywalking the Planet, and meet some amazing, great people and what their passion and dream is, and just highlight it. I think that to me that's my dream.
Everything. And I just want to say to your audience, I appreciate all you guys. I mean, I know there's been upwards of well into 200 people in here. Guys, if you support what Jay's doing and what we're all trying to do, which is move the conversation forward, take 5 minutes. I mean, everybody in here, go like a bunch of Jay's old videos, go leave an additional comment, go leave some stuff on my channel. Go, if you like my message, you like the people I interview, just know that I'm trying to put people in front of this gun wall and get people having the conversation and get people having the discussion. That's where it all starts. And that's one of the things that I really respect about what your community and what you guys have built is the intensity in the chats, the comments. And I'm doing my best, in case you guys haven't noticed, in recent episodes, and highlight some of the questions, some of the stuff that you guys send as well in the chat. So I do pay attention to what you guys say. So I appreciate the hell out of your audience and everything you guys do. And I'm a huge supporter of Jay's and the whole movement. I love what the Geeks and Gamers are doing, and I love what everybody's doing in that whole community. Gary, all of them, Jeremy, Ryan. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I think your podcast, once you get it off the ground, you figure out the way you're going to do it, is going to be totally phenomenal. So I appreciate all you guys. If you just take a few minutes when you walk out of this chat to do some of that, I think it'll move the needle and make a huge impact.
John is new to the YouTube thing, like all these clips and highlights and super chat. I remember when I first did your podcast on YouTube, and I don't know who was like helping you produce. Well, I forgot his name.
Probably Rory or
my community show. There is no community like the Drunk 3PO community. I am beyond blessed. Everyone and it's only a fraction that's in this chat. Only a fraction. They showed up, remember on live stream? And they started giving and support. Yeah. It's just like they gave over $500.
And what did I do with that money tax free?
I gave it right back. Like, yeah, we put it right back into the thing. But what I'm saying is like that's how amazing this community is, and I don't even know why I'm so blessed with it. And that's why I want to highlight them. They all got incredible talents and some amazing things going on that that's the least I could do is take the platform that I have and just say, you want to buy some cool artwork? This person here, wait, where's Orbs? Right here. What you guys don't know, sorry, I'm highlighting it. I know we're getting out of time, but Orbs texted me. He makes sure I'm doing okay. He always calls to check on me when he hasn't heard from me. Wants to make sure I'm doing good. Always. Doesn't have the biggest channel. He's creating a game, like a board game. Like, this is his heart, his passion. He wants to create. And if I'm wrong, or it's like, tell me, no, it's not a board. Yeah, it's a board game. He's him, and he's like putting money into it. He's really feels like this is what he wants to do, and I want to be there for him. Once it launches, like here's my platform, buddy. Like, if it helps you get your dream off the ground, you know, I don't have the biggest platform, but at least it's something. So at least it's something. He's like, you got it. Okay, yeah. It to me, like that, I love that stuff, man. I love that stuff. It's incredible, like all these people that's in this community and where their passion is at. And I think that's why I also love John. The guy like John, I can't speak any higher than John Bartolo, who takes time out of his day to call me, and like I'm like, hey, I got questions. He's like, what you got? And it's like, we've been on the phone for hours, and I'm like, what about this? Will this work? What you think? How about this? If it wasn't for John Bartolo, I wouldn't even, Nine Line wouldn't even know who I am. And this is what John does. John was like connecting all of us and putting us all together because like what he was talking about earlier, it's about putting everyone together because we're all fighting the same thing. You know, and it's and now look, now there's gonna be tons of people walking around with rebellion hats and shirts. And when people ask you what that's all about, you know, it's like, man, we ain't putting up with this bull crap anymore. You know, helping veterans, which they hate, helping police officers, talking about it, it's just on and on and on. We can go on and on and on. So I can highlight Callista here, who's an artist. You know, I'm still in the ceramic studio working on my show that's right around the corner. I mean, it's just, she's going to do an art show, and it's just incredible. These people, like, we're all together here, and it's like, it's time, like, we can explore. Jay's always been there to help me build up. I'm forever thankful.
Callista, if you ever make something, message me. I'll buy it from you.
There you go. And I can just go on and on.
Yeah.
And I can just click on so many people that I see.
I'll support. As Jay knows, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I mean,
and look at Kaylee. Kaylee is like, you know what I can do? She shares everyone's videos. She's always in the chat. She's always leaving comments. She's always like, Kaylee is a machine, you know, sharing all our stuff and it's just all these things together. There she is. Etsy store.
Yeah, someone had mentioned earlier, I think someone else was talking about like the Hodge twins. I'm open to having any guest on. I can honestly say, guys, I didn't know who they were. I think they were like a couple of twins that hopped on that MAGA train or whatever it is that they hopped on. I don't know. I don't really follow them or pay attention, but I understand they're saying some cool stuff. I would probably say I just don't know them. But yeah, I mean, anybody's welcome on the show. They got a good,
that's right. We're here to fight puppet phobia. Yeah. All right. Funny YouTube channel. It's a puppet. That's it. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to end it because I can go on and brag about this amazing community for another hour. And you guys know that because I've done that before. So I want to thank John, my good friend. He'll be back.
Of course.
As much as I can have him. I know he's dying to watch the football game.
As many times you'll have me.
And, you know, and hopefully I can get back out there again. But thank you guys. Yeah, this is a start of something amazing for my podcast, and saving up money to get that truck, you know, and a cowboy hat and some boots.
Gotta get that boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Nothing but love for you guys. Y'all have a great night. And tomorrow morning I hit the road with Jeremy and Ryan, and we're heading to Boston. I'm sure you'll see some crazy live streams. I'm just going to leave this one up. It is what it is. I'll leave this live stream up because it was a great conversation. And we will catch you next time.